On a night when the wind howled through the skeletal trees of a forgotten forest, something small and trembling was left behind. Not in a shelter, not with a loving note, just abandoned. She was left in a cardboard box, half collapsed by rain, tucked beneath the rusted skeleton of an old pickup truck on the edge of nowhere. The creature inside, a dog, was barely more than bones wrapped in mud-streaked fur. Her wide amber eyes held a question no living being should ever have to ask. Why? She didn't bark. She didn't whimper. She just waited. Hours passed. The cold seeped into her marrow. The rain turned to sleet. Still, she waited, for footsteps that never came, for a voice that had already vanished into the dark. By dawn, she crawled out. Not because she believed in rescue, but because survival demanded it. She wandered for days, a ghost on the edge of civilization, through empty fields and past shuttered barns with broken windows like hollow eyes. She drank from oil-tainted puddles and scavenged scraps behind gas stations where humans moved too fast to notice a shadow like her. She learned to flinch at sudden movements, to melt into the darkness when engines rumbled near. She became a whisper of what a dog should be. Then came the storm. Not just any storm, but a tempest that ripped roofs from houses and turned country roads into rivers. Lightning split the sky like divine judgment. Thunder shook the very earth. And in the chaos, she found herself cornered beneath a collapsed awning, shivering, ribs heaving, her eyes fixed on the deluge as if it might finally wash her away for good. That's when he appeared. Not with fanfare, not with a spotlight. Just a man in a soaked flannel shirt, boots caked in mud, his flashlight beam cutting through the rain like a lifeline. He didn't speak at first. He just knelt. Slowly. Deliberately. As if approaching a wild thing that might vanish if startled. She tensed. Every muscle coiled. Every instinct screamed, "Run." But something in his stillness, something in the quiet ache in his eyes, held her there. He reached into his coat, not for a leash, but for a sandwich, wrapped in wax paper. He placed it on the wet ground between them. Then he backed away. She didn't eat it. Not then, but she watched him leave. And when he returned the next morning, with fresh water, a dry blanket, and that same quiet patience, she took one step forward, then another. It wasn't trust, not yet. It was curiosity. A fragile, flickering hope that maybe, just maybe, the world wasn't entirely cruel after all. His name was Daniel, a widower, a carpenter, a man who lost his wife to cancer 2 winters before and hadn't spoken more than 10 words to anyone since. He lived alone in a cabin at the edge of the woods, surrounded by half-finished furniture and a silence so thick it could choke you. He didn't try to name her right away. He let her choose her own space. Under the porch at first, then just inside the door. Then finally, one freezing night, curled at the foot of his bed. He decided to call her Ember, because that's what she was, a dying spark he hadn't yet known he needed to help keep alive. Days turned into weeks. Ember learned the rhythm of his quiet life, the creak of his boots on the stairs, the smell of sawdust, and coffee, the way he hummed old folk songs when he thought no one was listening. And Daniel, he began to speak again, softly, to her. He told her about his wife, about his grief, about how sometimes the quietest companions are the ones who heal the loudest wounds. But the past doesn't just vanish. One afternoon, while walking near the old highway where she'd first been found, Ember froze. Her ears pinned back. Her body went rigid. A scent, familiar, sour, laced with fear, cut through the pine-scented air. Down the road, a man in a stained hoodie stood by a broken-down car, arguing with a tow truck driver. It was him, the one who'd left her. Ember didn't growl. She didn't lunge. She just stared, unblinking, as if seeing a ghost from a life of pain. Daniel felt the shift in her, the tremor running through her small frame. He knelt beside her, resting a gentle hand on her back. "It's okay," he whispered. "You're safe now." The man glanced over, saw the dog, and his face flashed with guilt before he looked away. He got into the tow truck and left without another word. Ember watched him go. Then she turned to Daniel and pressed her head firmly into his hand. It was over. That night, as snow began to fall outside the cabin windows, Daniel sat by the fire with Ember at his feet. He opened a drawer and pulled out an old photo. His wife, smiling in the sunlight, holding a golden retriever puppy. He hadn't looked at it in years. "I think she would have liked you," he said softly. Ember lifted her head, met his gaze, and blinked. Once. Slowly. As if to say, "I know." Time passed. The seasons cycled through their gentle rhythm. Ember's ribs filled out, her coat grew thick and glossy. She learned to chase squirrels, to bark at mail trucks, and to sleep sprawled across Daniel's lap while he read. She became more than a pet. She became family, a second chance, a silent promise that love, once lost, can return in the most unexpected and beautiful forms. Years later, long after the nightmares faded and the cabin echoed with gentle laughter again, Daniel would sit on that same porch, a new puppy in his arms with Ember now gray-muzzled but still watchful resting beside him, and he would tell the story, not of abandonment, but of return, of how a broken little creature, left to die in the rain, walked into his life and taught him how to live again, and how sometimes the ones we think we're saving are actually the ones who save us. Thank you for watching this story unfold with us. If it touched your heart, please consider giving this video a like and subscribing to our channel for more content that celebrates the incredible bond between humans and animals. We'll see you next time.